Good day to you out there. Today we shall consider the very important topic called pronoun. Pronoun is our topic for today. What is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun in a sentence to avoid repetition. I come again. A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun in a sentence to avoid repetition. So the reason why pronoun is used is so that you don't repeat a noun over and over again. Where you have, there are some different types of pronouns. That's what we shall look at today. The first we shall consider is personal pronouns. Personal pronouns. And for personal pronouns, we have three types. We have three types of personal pronouns. First is the first person pronoun, second is the second person pronoun, and third is the third person pronoun. And starting from the first person pronoun, these are pronouns that include the person in the sentence. When a person who is speaking is involved in that description by the pronoun, then that pronoun is first person. And examples are I, we, us, and our. If you check these examples that we have here, I, we, us, and our, in I, it is a first person pronoun because the person speaking is referring to himself or herself. So it is first person pronoun to that extent. We is also first person pronoun because we includes a group in which the speaker is included. If you check back at the definition I gave of first person pronouns. Us is also first person because in us, there is the inclusion of the speaker in us. When I say us, it includes me. Similarly for our, when I say our, it includes me. Don't forget, a pronoun is a word used in place of a noun. So when we have Bola or Bola is a good boy. Bola is a good boy. And this is the sentence. Let's assume I am Bola. And of course, Bola is a good boy. If I have to say this in first person pronoun, or if I have to continue talking about the fact that Bola is a good boy, I won't want to be repetitive of this Bola, 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 Bola. So I have to fashion out a way to refer to Bola without repeating Bola. And that is where that's where pronoun comes up. So I can say, I, because I am Bola, don't forget. I am Bola. Bola is a good boy. I am good. Yes, I am. I then begin to use I in place of Bola. That is the use of first person pronoun in description. You get? I am Mr. Tony. From the point of Mr. Tony, if I don't want to use Mr. Tony anymore, I then begin to use I. If I belong to a group and I say this group is a group of people called the Avengers, and I don't want to use Avengers anymore, I can just continue by describing the Avengers as we or our. That is what the first person pronoun does. Moving on, the second person pronoun refers to the persons or things a person is describing. For example, if I am referring to you or a group that you belong to, somebody who is before me or a group before me, without particularly calling their names, it is where second person pronoun comes up. Your name is Bola, and I say, Bola, come here. You should come here. you can see that I do not have to repeat Bola again in the second sentence. Hear this. This example. Bola, come here, is the first sentence. Instead of saying, Bola, you should come here, I just go straight by saying, you should come here. In this sentence, you is a second person pronoun because it replaces your name here. And as I continue to discuss, I use, or in speaking or in writing, a writer uses a second person pronoun. It replaces the name of a person he or she is communicating with, or a group he or she is communicating with. And that's where we have your and yours. Of course, you know the usage of this. Let's continue. The third kind of personal pronouns that we have here is the third person pronouns. In the third person, it refers to he, she, it, or herself. In this case, the speaker or writer is referring to somebody who is not immediately present. In the case of I or you, in the case of I, the writer or speaker is relating to himself or herself. In the case of second person pronoun or pronouns, the writer or speaker is referring to a person or a group of persons he or she can see. In the place of the third person pronoun, the writer is referring to people or persons that he or she cannot see at that point of communicating. So when I say he, it therefore means that I'm not directly communicating with that person. I may be able to see the person, but I'm not referring to that person. That's where he comes up. When I say she, of course it's a female version of a third person pronoun. It therefore means I'm not directly communicating with that person. When I say it refers to a thing which I'm not directly communicating with. Same for herself. So these three types of pronouns are under personal pronouns. Now we go to demonstrative pronouns. We have a group of pronouns called demonstrative pronouns. And this is a pronoun used to point at something specific within a sentence. Examples are this, these, that, and those. Remember, demonstrative pronoun is used to point at something specific. If your aim in a sentence is to point at something specific in that sentence, then you use a demonstrative pronoun. As the name implies, demonstrative. It means you're demonstrating what you're referring to. Yes, these four pronouns are important. These four pronouns here are important. These, these, that, and those. When we say, by the way, the first two are related. The second two are similarly related. This and these refer to the reference of things that are immediately within us or around us, things that are close to us. When something is close to us, we use this. If that thing is one, this, it is a singular version of reference to something close to us. Then we use these for things that are close to us that are more than one. So if this is singular and this is plural. On the other hand, that and those refer to things that are far from us. Things that are far from us. So that, on the other hand, is singular and those is plural. Don't forget, the first two refer to things, a thing or things that are around us, close to us, and that and those refer to a thing or things that are far from us. Well, this is singular, this is plural. That is singular, those are plural. Now we shall look at possessive nouns. Possessive, when you hear the word possessive, what should come to your mind is ownership. Ownership, to possess something. And so these pronouns show possession. They show ownership of something. Yeah? Possessive pronouns show ownership of something. And examples are mine, ours, yours, his, theirs, its. If I say the ball is mine, full stop. What do I mean? I mean the ball is owned by me. I mean the ball is possessed. I'm referring to the ownership of the ball. When I say ours is a family of positive values. By the way, this should be in capital letter because it comes first. Ours is a family of positive values. It may seem like a complicated sentence, but what it merely means is that our family owns positive values. Our family has good values. It still refers to possession. Yeah? Theirs. When we say theirs, the house is theirs. It means the house belongs to them. If I say my name, it means the name belongs to me. So when you hear any of this, it refers to ownership. Yeah? If I say its properties are, it means the properties of the thing are. Where any of these words appear in a sentence, when any of them appears in a sentence, it means that a possessive noun is being used. Moving on, interrogative pronouns. Simply, interrogative pronouns are used to ask questions and must be punctuated with a question mark. These are used to ask questions. Examples: who, what, where, when, whose, which, whom. If I say, which of the biros did you take? Which of the biros did you take? Full stop. No, not full stop. Question mark. Which of the biros did you take? Do not forget this. Whenever you ask a question in a sentence, it must be accompanied, it must be ended with a question mark. Punctuation is very important. Same thing for what. What is your name? The pronoun being used in this case is an interrogative pronoun. We use these pronouns here to ask questions. When are you coming home? You know, these are all interrogative pronouns. Now we shall consider reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns. These pronouns make reference to the subject in the sentence. To the subject in the sentence. Examples are himself, herself, myself, itself, themselves, ourselves, yourselves. So when a sentence has pronouns like this, you know that sentence is referring to the speaker. When I say, I was there myself, myself. I was there myself. It means my statement is in reference to myself because I am the subject. If I said Tony went there himself. Tony went there himself. Himself here is a reflexive pronoun because it refers to Tony. Like we said, these pronouns make reference to the subject. This is the pronoun and it makes reference to the subject, Tony. Themselves refers to the same group of people. If I say the classmates went to buy their books themselves. That pronoun refers to the classmates. So you get it. These are all reflexive pronouns. Moving on to relative pronouns. Relative pronouns are used to introduce relative clauses. This kind of pronoun is used to introduce a relative clause. Examples are who, whom, which, whose, where, and where. But don't get confused here. I know when we talked about, initially we had mentioned, we talked about interrogative pronouns, and we said examples of interrogative pronouns included some of this. Yeah, if you think back, you remember. Yes, so relative pronouns are parts of interrogative pronouns, but then they have slightly different meanings when used in relative sense. By the way, what do we mean by relative clauses? A relative clause is a kind of dependent clause. We had spoken about dependent clauses, sentences that cannot stand on their own. Clauses that cannot stand on their own are dependent clauses. And so these pronouns here, who, which, where, these pronouns are used to introduce relative clauses. An example is the man whose daughter won the competition is here. The man whose daughter won the competition is here. Where is the relative pronoun here? Whose. You can see that in this case, whose is not acting as a question. We can use whose in asking a question. I can say, whose ball is that? We can use whose in asking questions. But in this case, it is acting as a relative pronoun because this whose links this second part of the sentence. It helps to introduce this second part of the sentence. It helps to make this second part of the sentence stand. And this second part here is what we refer to as relative clause. Whose daughter won the competition. So if you remove this part, if you break the sentence into two, and you take off the man whose out of it, what you'll have left is daughter won the competition is here. It will not make sense. And that is why it is called a relative clause. And like we said, this kind of clause is a dependent clause. It depends on something to stand. And in this case, what can make it stand is this first part of the sentence, which has a relative pronoun that can give it firmness to stand. Are you following? The boy who was here yesterday has come again. In this case, the who there introduces the relative clause of the second part of the sentence. You can think of many. Now we shall consider indefinite pronouns. Indefinite pronouns. These pronouns do not refer to a particular person or thing. You use these pronouns when you are not sure of who you are referring to or what you are referring to. Examples are these here. Some, somebody, one, someone, no one, everybody, none, all, everyone, everything, several, many. You use these pronouns when you're unsure of the specific names of the people or things that you are referring to. When I say, or even in cases where you know the names but you don't just want to begin to list out the names of the people that you're talking to. When I say everyone must come early tomorrow. Everyone must come early tomorrow. That should be here. If it is not, we can add it. Everyone or everybody must come here early tomorrow. We've merely used indefinite pronouns because everyone is nobody's name. It is not specific. I mean, on a lighter note, some people will say, my name is not everyone, or my name is not everybody, or everybody is nobody's name. You get? But then it is indefinite pronoun, and it is allowed in English language. It is allowed in English language. So, when you say everything, it is indefinite. When you have a sentence that says one, when I say one must make sure, one must try to be right all the time. One must try to be good all the time. One must try to be good all the time. I do not mean one person must try to be good all the time. What I mean here is that a person, a human being, it can be, it can connote humanity. I can use this word here to connote all human beings must try to be good all the time. I can use this to refer to us. You know, I can use this to refer to just about anyone. You get? One must try to be good all the time. It means you and I must try to be good all the time. It means I must try to be good all the time. You get? That's what this is as an indefinite pronoun. It is not specific, but the context in a lot of cases will determine what the speaker or writer is talking about. We have all of this. Just think of instances that you can use them, or instances where you see them used. Let's go on. Reciprocal pronouns. Reciprocal pronouns indicate an exchange of action between two or more people. An exchange of action. By the way, the word reciprocal means exchange. It means giving back. When you reciprocate a gesture, you're paying back that gesture. When you reciprocate love, you're loving in return. When you reciprocate, it means you're exchanging. So reciprocal pronouns refer to pronouns that indicate exchange between two or more people. Examples are each other and one another. These are reciprocal pronouns. In the case of each other, it refers to exchange between two people. When I say, my mom and I love each other, it means, let me write it down, my mom and I love each other. What does it? This has to be in capital letter. My mom and I love each other. It means I love my mom and my mom loves me. Okay. In the case of one another, it means people. It refers to reciprocity of more than two people. Reciprocity, the exchange of more than two people. Take note. In the case of each other, you're referring to two people, while for one another, the people involved in the exchange are more than two. There may be 3, there may be 10, there may be 100. If I say, students in your class love one another, it means there's an exchange of love between and amongst the students in the class. It means Tony loves Dayo, Dayo loves his friend Ngozi, Ngozi loves James, James loves the teacher loves, there's love circulating around. So where each other is used, it is in reference to circulation or exchange of something amongst people in a group, usually more than 2. Yes. But do not confuse this with the word themselves. Themselves. The word themselves is usually in reference to everybody for himself and herself. It does not indicate exchange. When I say everybody in my class, people in my class love themselves. You get what I mean? Students in my class love themselves. What does it mean? It means Dayo loves Dayo, Tony loves Tony, BC loves BC. There is no exchange. The love is personal, but then everybody loves himself or herself. There's no exchange. But in the case of one another, there's exchange in the group. In the case of each other, there's mutual exchange, meaning 2 people exchanging mutual feelings or exchanging things. Now we shall look at nominative and objective pronouns. Nominative and objective pronouns. Nominative pronouns function as subject of verbs. They function as subject of verbs. Examples are I, you, he, she, it. How do they function as subjects of verbs? For example, when I say I gave Tony my bag, full stop. I gave Tony my bag. Where is the verb in this sentence? It is give. Give is our verb. What is the subject? Or where is the subject? The subject is I. I is the subject. And so, like the definition says here, they function as subject of verbs. So, I here is the subject of the verb give. Because the gave is about the I. I gave. I am the subject. If I say, I asked him to come. Ask or asked is the verb. I is the subject. So sentences in this manner function as nominative pronouns. When I say, you forgot to tell me. You forgot to tell me. You forgot to tell me. In this case, the you is the subject. Forgot perhaps can be said to be the verb. So you also act as a nominative pronoun. Similarly, you can say she, it, it said, it goes, it plans, she plans, he activates, he walks, he jumps. These are sentences where the pronouns are nominative because they act as subjects or verbs, and in most cases they come in the beginning of sentences while the verbs come afterwards. Furthermore, for objective pronouns, this refers to pronouns which function as objects of an action. Objects of an action. In one sentence, you can have both a nominative pronoun and an objective pronoun. For example, if I say, I like him. I like him. I here is the subject, like is the verb, and him is what? Him is the object of this sentence. Object. Are you following? Like the definition here says, such pronouns function as objects of an action. What is the action here? The action is like. And who amongst the two pronouns here is the object of the like. It is him. In most cases, objective pronouns come after the verb. After the verb. We shall continue shortly. Welcome back. Now we shall look at the functions of pronoun. What are the functions of pronoun in sentences? First of all, a pronoun functions as the subject of a verb. Subject of a verb. Here, a pronoun begins a sentence. Where a pronoun functions as the subject of a verb, it is usually the beginning. It starts a sentence. Like these examples here display. She sleeps in buses. What is the pronoun here? She is the pronoun. She sleeps in buses. Sleeps is the verb. And like the rule says, here a pronoun begins a sentence. And it is the subject of the verb. What it means is that this pronoun is the subject of this verb. The pronoun sleep and the pronoun she is what the sleep is about. The sleep here refers to she. It means she sleeps in a bus. This displays clearly that the subject of the verb here is she. Are you following? Secondly, someone stole my bag. Someone stole my bag. Someone is the pronoun. Stole is the verb. Like we said initially, in this case, the pronoun comes first, followed by the verb. So the pronoun is the subject of the verb. The subject of this statement here is someone, and stole is the verb. We go to the next function of pronouns, which is as object of a verb. Pronouns function as objects of a verb. Here, a pronoun comes immediately after a verb. In the Remember in the first one, in the case of subject of a verb here, we said the pronoun comes in the beginning before the verb. And now in the second one, we're saying the pronoun comes after the verb. And examples are, the boy loves himself. What is the verb in this sentence? I know you know. It is loves. This is the verb, loves. What is the pronoun? Himself. And so, the pronoun comes after the verb. It therefore means the pronoun himself is the object of the verb loves. Moving on. The third function of a verb is a subject complement. Subject complement. Here the pronoun is the same thing or person as the subject. The pronoun is the same thing or person as the subject. Example is, the ball is mine. What it means is that the pronoun and the subject are the same. This is the subject, ball. This is the pronoun, mine. It means that the subject belongs to the pronoun. They are one and the same. And that's why it is said here that the pronoun is the same thing or person as the subject. They are the same. Because it is the same person that owns it. The ball is mine. The ball and the mine come together. Secondly, when somebody says the glasses are hers, it therefore means that the glasses here, glasses is the subject, hers is the pronoun, the glasses belong to her. When you see sentences like this, which show ownership in some sense, which also shows relationship, when the sentence shows relationship in this manner, then you know that such function of pronoun in that sentence is as subject complement. Let us go to object complement as a function of pronoun. Here the pronoun comes up immediately after the object in the sentence. The pronoun comes up immediately after the object in the sentence. So what you need to look out for is, where is the object in this sentence? Examples are, she gave me hers yesterday. She gave me hers yesterday. First of all, what is the object in this sentence? It is me. Me is the object because it is me that receives what is given. Or, you get? Me receives. So me is the object. And so like it is said here, such pronoun comes up immediately after the object. So where is the pronoun here? It is hers. Me is the object and hers is the pronoun. Also, second example, my father gave us everything. My father gave us everything. So what is the object in this second sentence? My father gave us. Us there is the object because us is the beneficiary of what the father gave. You understand? Like we said also, the pronoun in this case comes after the object, and so everything here, if you remember, we said everything is also a pronoun. Everything here becomes the pronoun. This function is that pronouns act as complements to objects. In this case, in the first case, hers complements me, and everything complements us. Moving on. The fifth function of a pronoun is that it functions as complement of proposition. If you recall when we spoke about proposition, I did say it refers to words like to, about, for, and the likes. So, for complement of proposition, here the pronoun comes after the proposition in the sentence. So what you need to do to determine where the pronoun is in the sentence as such is to first find out what the proposition is and where it is. The example we have here says, we shared the money between each other. What is the proposition here? We shared the money between each other. Between is the proposition. And as the rule goes, the pronoun comes after the proposition in the sentence. So this here becomes our pronoun, while between is the proposition. Between is proposition, each other is the pronoun. To the next one, I reserved the seat for myself. If you look up here, for is a proposition as we said earlier, and so you circle for, it is the preposition, and what comes after becomes the pronoun. So these 5 functions we have listed are the functions of pronouns in sentences. I do hope you understand all that we've talked about. See you in the next class.